Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Instagram fame and anxiety pills. Acharya Prashant and IIM Calcutta. So this is an interesting one. Again, I think a lot of things are blamed on the West, and what I mean is, I'm sorry, but I think personally it's not the West's fault. I think because obviously let me explain. Why is it not the West's fault? Because no matter what anyone makes, it is our responsibility of how we use it. Someone can use a fork. It's like, oh, I want to make eating easier. Yes. But then if someone uses that as a weapon, you can't blame the person that created it. Blame the person that's using it. So again, like Instagram, you know, someone created that just as a way of communicating with people. Now the world is smaller because of technologies and ways of communication. But again, no one can look into the future to see how Instagram affects people, or how texting affects people, how talking on the phone affects people, how TV affects people. It's there to be used, and it's up to the individual to be responsible for using it. Well, however they choose, or to use it responsibly. So, and this is also in part of having power over yourself, as opposed to saying, "Oh my gosh, Instagram made me this way." That means you have no power over yourself. You have no self-control. And that's where the problem lies, not because of Instagram, not because of the fork, not because of, whatever else is out there. It's you. And this is kind of again, a lot of the teachings in terms of Advaita Vedanta is looking inwards to know yourself, to recognize where the issues are coming from. I struggled to say that. I hope you understand what I mean. Because anxiety pills, something that's growing in the West. But, Instagram fame and anxiety pills, this is all West related. But it's not. Because this is obviously going on in Eastern countries as well. So, yes, the Western people may have made it. And if you blame the West, you're taking away responsibility of your own actions. So, again, the fork is a great example. The chopsticks are a great example because those can stab people too. The car can run over people. The airplane can kill many people. The ceiling fan can just fall and hit you in the head. There's so many things out there that can be used as weapons, or that are just, I guess, used as weapons is really the best way to do it. But again, you know, you don't blame the person that made it. You blame the person that the way they used it. And so, kind of like, again, Instagram, the way they use it is to build up their ego, and that's the reason why they have anxieties, because they need to make sure that ego keeps going, that ego is being constantly fed. Anyways, I said too much. Let's just go.
Namaskar, Acharya ji. I think my question has three aspects to it. So, the first aspect is the psychosocial aspect, and my question is that nowadays we see a lot of quick fix philosophies, and they seem to work for a lot of people. So, the philosophies of you only live once, positive body positivity or positivity in general, and self love, and like these kind of things which seem to work for people. However, on the counter side, I feel they try to make a person escape from their realities, in a sense that you escape your problems, so that instead of facing them and going through a discomfort of processing them and reaching the end, you just focus on your own self. And that focus on your own self somehow seems to fuel narcissism on some level. In fact, today only I read that the person on Instagram with the highest number of followers is just a person who posts a picture of herself every day in front of the mirror, and that has given her 133 million followers. So the physiological aspect of this is that anxiety has become almost like an epidemic today, and we see doctors prescribing anxiety pills or depression pills incessantly. And personally, I have seen that depression tablets, anxiety tablets seem to work for people. It does seem to bring them out of their rut. So, is that correct? Is that the right way of addressing the problem on, and are these two problems connected? And finally, the socio-spiritual aspect of this question. This quick fix philosophy, it seems to make people very exclusive. It is diametrically opposed to inclusive living. So, is that wrong or is that right? And is it something we should be accepting in our daily life as part of the modern world?
Okay, I think that's where she's paused. I don't know. Okay, is the right way to go pills? Absolutely not. It's a temporary solution, or you're going to get, when you get older, you're going to have 50 pills you have to take every single day. That is the getting away from pills is the way. Getting away from it, not getting into it. It can be fine to take it temporarily and to help you balance yourself out, but the ultimate goal is to get away from it to where you have it under your control. Now, of course, there are going to be certain things that you can't really control. Now, I was going to say high blood pressure, but you can change your diet for that. And there may be some people who even changing diet doesn't work for, so the only way is pills because there's some weird genetic abnormality that happens. I don't know. Again, I'm not a I'm not a doctor. I don't know all the diseases in the world, but I wouldn't doubt there are some exceptional people out there who legitimately need the pills to survive or to live a normal life. But there are many people out there who are on these pills that because it's just so easy, they don't want to put in the work. Majority of people are on that like that, and that is not the way to be. It's easy to say just become enlightened. I mean, that is genuinely the truth in terms of Advaita Vedanta, is the fact that when you're enlightened, you are, in a lot of sense, you know that you are unaffected by all these things. The body can suffer, your mind can worry, but I just don't like that answer. Um, because, well, if you look at Advaita Vedanta, we are all genuinely enlightened already. We just don't know it. So, don't worry about being enlightened. It's really weird to say that. But to go ahead and find a ways to I guess if you look at Advaita Vedanta, it's not really in a large part. I don't think it's really trying to find yourself enlightened because you're already that. It's just to I don't know for sure, but I know that the goal is enlightenment, but you're already enlightened. So how is that the goal? I think it's to recognize it, but also to hopefully help you live life very fulfilling. So like Sadhguru and Acharya Prashant here, I'm sure they don't really suffer a lot in life because they are, if there's problems, I'm sure they're not stressing out about it. If there's sadness, I'm sure it doesn't really destroy their lives per se. The second one, though, is kind of weird. Um, I don't quite understand what she meant. Living, is that makes sense people exclusively or diametric. Quick fix philosophy. Generally speaking, quick fixes are the pill is a quick fix. Sometimes it can work, but again, it's not something that you really want to go off of. It seems to make people very exclusive, and it's diametrically living so that it's wrong or right, and that is accepting our modern life as part of. Okay, maybe I should. Well, let me get that last
It
part.
seems to make people very exclusive. It is diametrically opposed to inclusive living. So, is that wrong or is that right? And is it something we should be accepting in our daily life as part of the modern world?
Well, whether they would choose to live alone or choose to live with people, it's up to them, honestly. I mean, if they feel better just living by themselves, hope that they're genuinely feeling good like that. Leave them be. I mean, maybe you want to be their friends, but you also have to kind of respect their wishes a little bit. You don't want to force yourself on them. You don't want to force your views on them. And if they want to be part of the group, then so be it. At the same time, if you don't want to be if you don't want to be with them, then they should respect that as well. Again, the biggest thing is not to force your ideas or your views on anyone, but to have a little bit of a mutual respect. I think I answered it.
Actually, that person with that large number of Instagram followers would be in a very good position to bring about a change in popular consciousness.
Real quick about that, I guess that person real quick. Again, I don't know if she's taking anxiety pills or not. She could be just doing that just because it's very simple, very easy. Um, the biggest thing is that not to suffer from it. That's the thing that I always, so far I've been saying a lot lately. Is not to suffer from whatever it is. If you're not suffering from whatever you're doing, then I think you're doing it right. So if you have 133 million followers and if you lose all of them and you don't suffer from it, you're doing it right. But if you lose a few, like 1 million or say 500,000, and you're suffering from it, then you're doing it wrong.
Because more than anybody else, that person would know the futility of this kind of stuff. Hmm? So, I mean, that's what. How can anti anxiety pills work for someone? Right? They affect your body, your brain in a particular way. But the mind remains the same, right? There is a difference between a problem in the brain and problem in the mind. So there is a difference between a problem in the brain and a problem in the mind.
I'm assuming the brain is the physical object and the mind is the subjective object. You know, not something that you could perhaps measure, but like perhaps electrons. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. Brain's the physical thing there, and the mind is the idea behind
When
it.
you take these pills, at most they can address the brain. But how will pills address the mind? The mind is composed of tendencies, thoughts, emotions, such stuff. Hmm? And the problem really lies there. And we try to address the problem in the mind by treating the brain. Hmm? Won't really help. Hmm? Or would help in a very superficial way, very limited way. Right? Uh, the philosophies that you talked of, you live only once and
Mhm.
such things, do we think them through? What does it mean to live only once? Who is the one who lives? Hmm? Or is it merely a catchphrase, a jumla, a loose metaphor of some kind? Nobody is getting much out of what is going on. And yet, what is going on is going on. So it's a miracle. Hmm? And Vedant calls it Maya. Hmm? She keeps sucking the life out of you, and yet you keep worshipping her. She does not let you see what is right there in front. And instead, she keeps you lost in dreams and apparitions. That's Maya.
Mhm.
Hmm? Now, one way this charm, this spell is broken is when facts hit you really hard.
It's very interesting the way he said that, and what I thought there was there's a couple of ways. Sorry if I made a nose noise. There's a couple of ways to look at that, and the fact that the Maya is casting illusions and stuff. I guess for me, it's the fact that you can let it affect you or not. It goes back to my world religion class when I was taught in terms of Buddhism that life is suffering. the life is suffering and Maya to me are one and the same because well, it's Maya. We as far as I guess from the talks is the suffering part of life. It's the illusion. It's fake. It's not there to benefit you. Uh, is it there to hurt you? I don't think it's there to benefit or hurt you, but it is what it is. However you interpret that, and I think that's the way I interpreted kind of life as suffering. It's the fact that there is suffering in life. It's up to you to choose whether you suffer life. I chose not to. I really did. I genuinely did. That was the wake up call. I never thought, I genuinely never thought I would ever hear or experience or anything. Again, it's not like I became enlightened right then, but it was just a very interesting wake up call that made me realize some things. This Maya, it's up to you how you let it affect you. Because it can't do anything. It's not necessarily evil or good. I don't believe, anyway. This is perhaps my interpretation of it. It is what it is. If you let it hurt you, it will hurt you. If you benefit from it, you will benefit from it. It's all an illusion, and you can interpret it how you like. Me, I chose not to suffer from it. I may still be in the illusion, but I'm not suffering from the illusion. And this is what I said about the Instagram. Is that again, if you're doing all this, you got 133 million followers, you lose 3 million, and you're unaffected by it, you are doing it right. You're still playing into the illusion, kind of like Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna, because they are still in this world. They understand. Well, they say the world is real. I guess it's kind of contextual that it's real because people believe it to be real, even though they know it's not. But it's easier to talk to people when you say the world is real, and as opposed to saying that it's an illusion. It's like, what are you talking about? So to say it's real and to play it off that way, you can help people realize that the suffering that they're suffering from the world is all on themselves. But anyways, um, again, Maya and the suffering, it's all an illusion, and how that illusion affects you is all up to you.
That's one way. For example, the COVID onslaught. So many people were brutally brought down to ground and made to taste reality in one stroke. We live in make-believe worlds. We live in bubbles. Within those bubbles, there is a degree of comfort, security, etc. But those bubbles can be punctured anytime. It's just that in this limited phase in which we are living, the bubbles are not being punctured very regularly. But anything can happen anytime. Life can test you very ruthlessly. And that's when you realize that you have no solid base to life, that you have no philosophical foundation, or whatever philosophy that you have is very childish, very inadequate. Even if there is no COVID, even if there is no cataclysmic happening, yet life keeps testing us in small ways, and facts have a way of showing up. When facts show up, then our concepts and imaginations are badly hurt, sometimes shattered. And then we rush to the psychiatrist. And that's why you see long queues there. The waiting times are only increasing every passing month.
And I wouldn't doubt the cost is going up too.
Mental health today is a bigger problem than any other disease of the body. Obviously not without reason. obviously then you have to get into and inquire everything that affects the mind, because the mind cannot just get sick on its own. Surely there are influences, surely there are conditions that are pushing it into sickness. And if you start inquiring into those conditions, the entire world order will come crashing down. You'll have to question our economics, our education, our social institutions, our politics, everything. And because we don't want to question all that, and because there are powerful forces whose self-interests are being served by these institutions, therefore no proper inquiry is being made. And the common man is just too powerless and uncaring. He says, one life is all that I have. Even if I waste it away, how does it matter? It's just one life.
That's not, at least in the phrase in the United States. It maybe, yeah, actually. In the phrase in YOLO, as they say, you only live once, or
Is one life is all that I have. Even if I waste it away, how does it matter?
it's not about wasting your life. It's about living your life. So meaning that like things that you would normally not do because you're scared or frightened, YOLO says do it. You only have one life to live. Live the life that you have. Don't hide away in a box and cower and protect yourself just to die in this box without living life. That's what I believe YOLO is meant to be. So it's not wasting your life, which is kind of interesting there. Um, but maybe perhaps he sees the YOLO phrase as doing crazy stuff as wasting your life. Maybe that's the way he sees it, and that's the reason why he says it that way.
It's just one life. Is that not the philosophy? No? So he says, after all, just one life. So just waste it away. Even those who are exploiting this common man are actually wasting their lives.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Not that they are receiving some higher benefit or higher delight or substantial fulfillment. Even they are wasting their lives. That's how Maya is. Both the exploiter and the exploited are actually being exploited by a third party called Maya. It's just that the exploiter thinks he's very smart. He does not know that even he is a pawn. The real exploiter is somebody else.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with people who I don't necessarily think I agree with him when he says like antidepressant pills are exploitive. They do work, but like I think what he's trying to say is the fact that these are not the real solutions. And he's absolutely right about that. The pill is not the real solution, but I don't think they're necessarily exploiting people. It's these people are trying to find a way to fix problems, but they're doing it in the materialistic way, like pills and stuff, because people are lazy. And like you said, I think the common man was, what was it? Oh, there's a no, there's a pawn. Nope. Um.
Wasting their lives.
Anyways, but it's probably by third party Maya. I don't believe necessarily that people who create pills that actually solve the problem or temporarily solve the problem. Let me rephrase that. Are exploitative. I would say the people who exploit stuff is people who claim something but doesn't actually do what it's claimed. Those people exploit. But I think what he's saying here is the fact that even the temporary solution itself is exploitative, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I do agree with him though the fact that that is not the real solution. Absolutely, like I said in the very beginning, the real solution is to get off these temporary solutions to a more permanent one. So outside of the fact that exploitative things in terms of temporary solutions, not necessarily. I mean, because they are selling you something that actually works. So, um, outside of that, yeah.
Shallow philosophies, false treatments do not work for anybody. It's another matter if we want to keep fooling ourselves. Hmm?
Yes.
There has to be self love, there has to be courage. One has to say it's all right to be devastated and destroyed, but it's not all right
Give up.
to keep yielding moment by moment the way I do. Hmm? If I have to be destroyed, let me be destroyed at least in some great pursuit. Why am I being destroyed in the pursuit of trivia and trash? Hmm? Those questions need to be asked. The mind is very susceptible to influences. We look at what other people do, and therefore someone has to throw his hat in the ring and say, fine, I'm going to fight it so that others too get the courage to fight it out.
Oh, jeez. So the last part, I'm thinking he's talking about like, I guess like the people who wrote the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads and all of that. The people who, you know, are trying to get people away from the in a sense, the materialistic world, Maya itself, the the dependencies on temporary solutions as opposed to a more permanent one. But and let's say, and this is the thing I kind of, I guess I'd like to try to do myself, or at least have my opinions on, is you know, it's really weird to say this, that in terms of Advaita Vedanta, at least as far my limited understanding of it, is that we are all enlightened. It's just that we do not know that we are. So if you make that statement, and if that statement is true, then what's the point of trying to be enlightened? Because you're not trying to be enlightened, because you already are enlightened. And if you already are enlightened, you have nothing to worry about, right? This is something that I really wanted to make also a video on, and I think I will. I want to create a vehicle. I want to make a car talking about enlightenment. I want to create a video about this kind of thing, and um, hopefully say what I understand, and people will comment whether they agree or disagree, or if I got something wrong. But we are already enlightened. I don't think people would disagree with that, perhaps, because we are Atman Brahman, and Brahman itself is pure consciousness, which is unaffected by the real world, which is who we are. So therefore, we just suffer the body because we just don't know that we are the unsuffered, the untouched. But whether we know that or not doesn't change anything. If the body's going to suffer, the body's going to suffer whether you're enlightened or not. Something I really wanted to kind of, I guess, kind of get a little bit of a deeper discussion, because I want to have a deeper understanding of that. So the kind of the purpose of, I guess, a little bit in terms of the purpose of Advaita Vedanta, in terms of trying to be enlightened when you already are enlightened. Um, I really want to dive a little bit deeper into that. Dive and deep at the same time, dive. Um, anyways, so yes, any kind of anything in this life that you suffer from is you are doing it wrong. I want to make that clear. Um, Again, obviously we're not all perfect human beings. We do not realize that perhaps that we are enlightened, so we still do suffer in life. To me, I think that's perfectly okay. It's not to say that I want you to suffer in life, but because there are some people out there who are very hard on themselves, saying that I can't believe I'm not enlightened yet. I'm a failure. No, I mean, trust me. Any amount of not suffering that you beaten is pretty good, and just continue to work on any other kind of suffering that you suffer from. I still suffer, clearly, and but I continue to work on it. I continue to try to understand why I'm suffering from something. And then, of course, anxiety pills. There's so many pills out there now about blood pressure pills, um, high blood pressure pills, anxiety pills, lose weight pills, all these shortcuts that doesn't, well, the weight loss pills doesn't really work, but the anxiety pills and the high blood pressure pills do work, but it's not something you should be dependent on. If possible, find solutions for these. Um, High blood pressure pills is gonna be your diet. Anxiety pills is gonna be in terms of Advaita Vedanta. You can really, I think anything psychological will help with in terms of Advaita Vedanta, and also I guess if you look at the I forget which yoga it was that does stretches and stuff will help you with your, I'm sure, with your high blood pressure. Stretching every morning will help because even though it's just a little bit of an exercise, that's still better than what a lot of people out there do in terms of exercise every morning. So there is definitely a lot of benefits if you look into the Eastern philosophies, even if you don't believe in the mystical part of it, like becoming enlightened through stretches. At the very, and I guess that's what I guess that's what the U.S. kind of did with yoga, is they turned into a stretching thing. I'll say this about that. Whether they pushed in the mystic version of that or not, I think that's still a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they got it twisted a little bit. At least the ones that say this is just stretching. I'll say they're still doing Americans a favor, and I hope you could look at the positives of that, even though it's not quite right. It's still helping people. So, anyways, that's my reaction to Instagram fame and anxiety pills. Acharya Prashant. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down, down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.